Welcome to another edition of the Inalienable Guys. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed with certain
inalienable rights.
inalienable rights.
You know the thing, being endowed by the thing.
Thank you for bailing me out.
It's Monday, folks.
Yeah, I'm getting bad as old the man running against the president. But yes, today we're going to be a little light with our conversation, but we're going to still talk about topics that is important to us. And I want to kind of get it started with about racial profiling. For some reason, it's been on my heart and my mind, about racial profiling. And also, it's about, more or less to me, about the stereotypes that are put on us as Americans, as Black Americans especially. I know individuals come, Black individuals come from other countries, and because of the media stereotypes of the Black man, they kind of look at us as probably the lowest on the totem pole as far as societal-wise. And my point is, I want to expose or to denounce some of these stereotypes and this foolish notion that Black man is being targeted, for his skin color and the likes. Mm-hmm. And this is what's been on my heart and mind. And I thought about it. Some of these celebrities talking about they can't leave the house without getting shot by police, but they $150 million man, $500 million man. And me and my nephew Kendrick, we was talking today, and he's right now working for a moving company, and he said he's been to the 42 out of the 50 states already, and he ain't had no issue. And I just want the Black man to realize that, Mark and I are sitting here and enjoying each other's company and respecting each other as men, and not only that, we encourage each other. So if it was something that was plaguing me in the form of my fear of living free in America with my inalienable rights, that means I can't sell them and the government can't take them away from me. And that is a free man, and we have this liberty in this country. So I just trying to get Mark's opinion on what he think about some of the stereotypes that's going around in this, that's him as who he is, what he considers.
Well, I saw a picture the other day. It's like you're looking out the window of your car and you see all the cars in front of you. You're in traffic, you see all the cars in front of you. And you say, how many of those drivers in those cars are Black? Cop driving down the road and he's looking out his window and he's looking at all the people in front of him, all the cars in front of him. Does he automatically know which one's Black?
It's impossible to me, in my thinking.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't, and so somebody might say, well, kind of car. You see some cars, popular with jacked up with the big wheels and all that. That doesn't necessarily mean. Right. I've seen white guys drive cars like that too. I know that it's a kind of a stereotypical thing. Mm-hmm. The low riders and that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean anything. No. The car that I used to have, I had several people comment about, that's kind of stereotype, that it would be a stereotypical car that person of color would drive. But I love that car and miss it.
And let me give just a little tad of history on me growing up, and I'll be amiss to not, connect the dots as far as 50 years ago up to current date. And I stayed in a little old town that we had what we call black and white town, if you will, and across the tracks. And so the blacks was on one side of town and the whites on the other side of town. And so, it was a division there. That's no doubt about that. And I had to teach myself some things. I taught myself how to remember my digits, my Social Security, my driving license number, and my date of birth, and these things that so many young Black men are getting caught with that. So I understand that did exist, and it's still in certain remote places in the United States. We are never saying that racism and stereotypes and the likes don't exist. But what we are saying is, speaking as a man, that the freedom that this country affords you to pay your taxes, to abide by the law, to worship as you will, and to love your family and love your brethren and love your country above all. And this is what's, I guess, brought up the subject matter. Why? What's wrong with loving the United States of America? What's wrong with being a proud American? You know, and I talk about 44, the president before Trump, and he was calling us bitter clingers. You know, we cling to our guns and our Bibles and our religion, and it's these rights that, and it back to choices. What we choose to do. You know, we choose to live a conservative lifestyle, and I was telling Kendrick again, my nephew, the difference in a conservative. I said, conservative. I rarely meet a conservative, a true conservative that I don't like, or that we don't have nothing in common. But and I think that is love of country, love of their freedom, love of family. But when liberals that I talk to, they don't seem to have much in common other than they hate the other side. That is one common denominator is hate, and that boggles my mind.
Well, of course, the big thing recently, of course, is what all they want to talk about is police brutality, and it's not like it doesn't exist. I understand there's certain things out there that happen, but the idea that it's just on one race is garbage, because I know some, white guys that have had problems with the law and, did some stupid things, and, and I also know some police officers, and I used to work around a lot of police officers, and most everybody that I knew, and the ones that were retired police officers and everything were good people. But I still knew some that had problems and stuff. So I know that kind of stuff exists, but the idea that it's based on that race, again, I don't see it. I don't see it to the extent that they want to be, and especially like you were saying, these celebrities and stuff that are out there, come on now.
And this is what we're trying to do.
They live in their fancy neighborhoods and their, gated communities and all this kind of stuff.
This is what we're trying to do. We're not talking about some utopia or some unrealistic aspirations or nothing, but we're trying to show our country and the peoples and anyone that's listening to this video is that it's okay, to have error and things that happen, but it's not the final consummation of who we are as Americans. I mean, I can go anywhere I want. I mean, I work, I pay my bills, legally, as far as what's in the constraints of the law. But the main thing is, it's not. I can't see it. Maybe I'm colorblind when it comes to like that. But because I think about some of my grandkids that's of another race, and it's just impossible to try to preach bigotry or superiority in the thing that I can do as a black man is show by example that you don't have to fear nothing but God. That's the beginning of wisdom and the word of God. That don't mean that things ain't gonna happen. But as Mark was saying, about the stereotypes, with the cars with the big rims on them. I mean, in the loud music, I see the trucks with the big rims, they jacked up with the diesel engines and the horns all on the hood. So you can look at stuff and say, well, that's that or that's that. I mean, you still could be wrong.
But it's not 100%.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, exactly. That
reminds me kind of the old story where, You got a school teacher and they write on the board, 1 times 9 is 9, 2 times 9 is 17, 3 times 9 is 27, and they go down the board and they write all, till, 10 times 9 is 90, right? Well, all the kids are laughing because they messed the second one up, and so hey, teacher, and that's, so the teacher set an example. Now you see, I wrote everything else right. Everything else was correct, but that one thing, you saw that one thing. That's the only thing you saw.
That's a great example, because that's how they look at the law officer. They out helping, Miss Johnson get a cat out the tree, or they helping a little person walk across the street, or unlocking someone's door at their house, or coming on a call to assist and maybe drop off some groceries, or bring an air conditioner. That never make the news. Right. But when you get in a blotter, it's two things that the negative people like to do, and that's the police blotter and the obituary. Mm-hmm. And I said, you need to quit that, because one day you're going to see yourself in the obituary. You're in the obituary. I guess it's human nature.
It is.
I get that, but I'm just encouraged, and I want to encourage anyone that's listening that it's not that dire.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to say is, a minute ago, what you were talking about is like, what good does it do to sow that division? You reap what you sow, right?
That's correct.
What good does it do to sow that division? I think that's one of the biggest things that I seen as a critique of the former administration, 44's administration, was that division. When he talked about having a son that looked like Trayvon, mm-hmm. or kind of like what we were talking about. You had the one guy that the cops, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like, there was a lot of people out there that voted him in, white and black. They voted him in because of his color and because of the fact that they thought that, especially the white liberals, thought that here we are, we're voting for this black guy, and that's going to end all the racism. Yeah. We can show the world that we voted, for the first black president, and, we don't have to worry about it anymore. Right. Everybody's going to know how, which, again, it's kind of true. I mean, that should be a good representation of the fact that, we finally got all this stuff. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But then there was all this, that's kind of the biggest thing that happened after that is that all of a sudden there was this stuff that he started doing that started, pushing back, pushing that, racism.
That's exactly right. I was thinking about this on the way here when I was thinking about the subject about riding through a pretty wealthy-looking neighborhood on the way back behind this building, and I was thinking about the elite, the liberal, the white elite, the thing that they have in common, as far as to say the poor, the poverty-stricken liberal. And one thing they do, they want this utopia. They're godless as far as I'm concerned, but that's my opinion. They want the state-of-the-art house with the new global warming devices that protects them. They want the electrical cars. They want the isolated areas where they all can sort of like live like they do in the Hamptons or somewhere. Live with all the finest things that the world can provide. But I was thinking this when I was riding. I said, but they don't have they're not in touch with the average taxpayer, common Joe. Right. Get up early in the morning, go to work.
Out there busting their behind, trying to get
they don't have a clue
food on the table.
How that works. It's like they're on another planet. Yeah. And this is what I believe they're gonna get steamrolled again. They fooling themselves about another subject that we're gonna segue into. Mark said he had on as far as about the polling and how things gonna turn out, and then they get caught red-handed or get caught off guard like they do. They come apart at the seam, and they spend the rest of their time trying to divide us and
Yeah, that's like I said, that's the thing that really that's what bugs me the most is the division. You know, I didn't grow up until I was a teenager, and we moved to a different area. There was really only one black family that I knew when I was like junior high school, and then high school I moved to a place where about a third of the class was black, and I never had a problem with any of them. You know, I became friends with several of them. You know, we rode the bus together. I never had any, you know.
Yeah, it's a taught behavior, you know.
It is. It is. And so, and if you go back and look, like I read something the other day that they did a study back in late 90s, I think, or early 2000s, whatever, talking to like teenage kids about racism and what kind of racism they have to deal with in their life and all that kind of stuff. And most of them said, you know, even black ones, you know, they said, no, it's, you know, we don't have any to amount to anything, you know. And so, like I said, that's what bothers me now is, you know, they want it by dividing and tribalism and all this other, you know, the cancel culture and all this other stuff that's going on. It just pushes all that.
And sometimes, you know, I pray on it, but because of my, I don't want to say, my masculinity or my ability to be a man, not a black man, but a man. Sometimes I might be a little stout when it comes to just not looking, I guess what black America would tell me to look at the ills and the woes, but I start feeling like that if I capitulate to that racist, that victim mentality, if you will, then I'm actually putting someone over me as far as superiority.
Right.
And I just don't see no man, not just black, white, Mexican,
right,
the whole, you know, gamut, as far as the whole human race. I don't see how anyone can look at themselves in the mirror or look at their frailties and their inadequacies and consider themselves superior to another person. I never been able to put them two together. I never been able to justify.
Well, I never felt that either as far as people that I was around. You know, I in certain positions I was in, I dealt with people that were, you know, CEOs of huge corporations, and they're just another person. You know,
that's it.
I mean, you know, I used to say, put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I did.
Exactly.
You know, whatever.
Anything else is adultery.
You know, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's, I don't know. But I still, the thing is just you push that kind of an agenda. It's not helping. You know, we need to be, like we talked about in, you know, past videos, like unity. We need to be helping each other. You know, trying to just see what we need. You know, what each other needs. Help each other with whatever, and it doesn't matter. And I think, you know, really, I think the majority of Americans are that way. Majority of the Americans are, you know, they don't care. You know, I know if you look at like some of the things that have happened in the last couple of years with like the hurricanes and stuff, man, you see guys, you know, and it didn't matter who they were or what they were, you know, they're getting their trucks and their boats and they're going down, you know, getting people out of their houses, you know, take them to dry land somewhere, take them to help, you know, get them whatever. They didn't care.
Exactly. It's
it
like,
didn't matter.
Does it have to be a tragedy to make us realize that some crisis that ascends?
Well, I think it happens every day. You know, I think we're helping each other all the time and doing all this stuff, but it's not out there. You know, which, you know, from the Christian standpoint, you know, you don't. How to say you don't? The right hand, you know, when you do your alms, the right hand's not supposed to know what the left hand's doing or whatever it is. And it's like,
Oh, yeah,
I don't
you
put it
said-
out there. Yeah, I don't put it out there.
Yeah,
I
your
help
charity.
people and all that kind of your charity, doing your charity, whether you're helping other people, whatever, whether you want to call that charity or not. For those that out there, we talk a lot about that. What is love? As biblical love that we talk about in the Bible is charity. That's one of the fruits of the Spirit, and we say it's charity is love in action.
And just like Mark is saying,
you're doing
just like
something
Mark
to help somebody else. That's love in action. You're helping them out
Listen.
from your heart.
And just like you're saying, we don't. It's charity is not vaunting. It's not self-praising.
No.
And so it's a bunch of human spirit out there
Yes.
and kindness and that's why I like to travel a lot. Because if you shelter in and believe in the narratives and the stereotypes that's thrown and bombarded at you and just in a little old section of your life, then you ain't gonna get out there. But once you get out there and people see you, that's why I find some of my greatest happiness is seeing other people happy.
Yeah.
I mean, people's not worrying about me. I'm looking at people's looking like, I'm in a place where, say Montana or Wyoming or somewhere where, predominantly white folks at, and you looking at like, I'm out of place. But them people's not worrying about you.
Nope.
They having a big ball and they having a big good time, then just chime in.
Yeah.
Quit looking at it from,
Yeah.
just like you're out of place. Because this is America.
Yeah, because I've been in that situation too, and it's like, we didn't care. Come on in.
Yeah.
It don't matter. Come on in. More the merrier.
This is America. This is America.
So, yeah, and that's it. I think that is. I think it's the majority of what America is, and so that, like we talked about the narrative, it's that narrative that's out there, and it needs to be crushed.
And that's one of our attempts to work on it and to show. Now, this is genuine. This is not something we put on a show to try to persuade someone. This is our life. This is who we are. We are the Inalienable Right Guys, but we are definitely put a premium on these things. And this and speaking especially for myself, God made you give you a great gift of being a man. And you can call me a black man because yes, my skin color, I don't have no problem with that, no qualms with that. But at the same time, a man respects others. He's accountable. He's responsible. He's a man though, so he has his flaws. We are not sitting here preaching perfection or nothing, but we are saying that at my house, everyone is treated equal. I've been to people's house and seen people's come over, and then the minute they leave, someone start talking, the racist talk. I said, no, that don't fly here. Because if I don't do it, I ain't gonna allow you to do it.
Right.
And I see a lot of people that don't seem to have that resolve sometimes in my environment is that they allow people to use derogatory terms, and yet they don't do it themselves. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So we just want to say the Inalienable Right Guys are sincere, and we just want to put this out here so people can understand, the stereotypes. And you can say what you want. I like my fried chicken, but I like my fried fish. I like my fried fish. Don't care much about watermelon, but I love me some corn on the cob. Me and my brother were talking the other day. We had so much watermelon when we was young. I just don't have much for it, but we had a lot of corn on the cob.
Now I'm allergic to it. I can't eat it and love it.
So,
what kind of crap is that?
So and plus I like I think if I'm not mistaken, Mark, is it German descent or what? Because of the meal. What's your
Hungarian.
Hungarian. Some of the meals he make just have so much soul in them. I'm talking about the flavor is. I think that's the key right there. It's the flavor. It's the soul of the individual. If you're cooking with love, or you're cooking with insight, or you're looking at people with love and insight, that you can actually put flavor in stuff. And I love like stuffed cabbage and the Hungarian types meals. And he was we can go into a whole another story where you told me about some of them
food. Yeah.
Some of them meals they used to cook over there, with the pig.
Yeah, exactly.
The pig feed.
We talked about the peasant foods.
Yeah, the peasant.
What we call the peasant foods. That a lot of those countries made, and it's no different than here. And especially like in the South, some of the stuff that pigs feed and oxtail and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good stuff.
That's good stuff.
You know?
My wife cooking some oxtail today.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You invite me over. I'm
well, kind of let that slip. You know, the ox I got ain't got but one tail.
You're gonna have to get two next time.
I'm gonna get two oxtails. But yes, no, we just have to pick that up when we was on the road. And when I come in, I was impressed. So, but it's the soul and the way you perceive things to make things legit. You know, I that's why I say we just
hungry for this is over with. That's what I'm saying.
That's another story. Let's get off this food subject. But anyway, we're gonna cut this video a little short. And we just like to end it with: we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, with certain inalienable rights, and endowed with the thing. And before we close, though, we want to make. I think people wonder what the thing is. We just think that the other side don't want to say the creator, and don't want to acknowledge God, and so they have trouble with that. So we just poking a little fun at it.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.